not important. Not important. We're going to use our money for other things. Not Torah. I want to keep Torah. Teach Torah. And they ain't omdim b'tchias hamesim. That's really bad, because tchias hamesim is if you associate with Eitz Chaim Hi. It's the tree of life. You know, you're not holding on to the tree of life. You're not machzik the tree of life. So then you don't get life. Sorry. Quid pro quo. So what are we saying here? Let's review. What was the problem that the Meraglim presented to Moshe? They presented the idea that Klal Yisrael had not resolved the issues that plagued the 10 generations of the Mabul, on the 10 generations between Adam and Noach to Avraham. They were still stuck in these klipot, which they saw everywhere in Eretz Yisrael. And it takes one to know one. Takes one to know one, as they say. Why does that mean that Moshe's prayers for them were not effective? The answer is simple. It's not that his prayers weren't effective. It's that they were not prepared to listen to Moshe. They had their own blockages. And that Moshe Rabbeinu can't daven for. If somebody does an Aveira, right, and he angers Hashem, like the Cheder Egel, well, you could say, Moshe wasn't there. Moshe wasn't there to guide them, right? Maybe if Moshe were there, would they have done Cheder Egel? What do you think? What's your opinion? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Definitely not. The minute he comes down, they're already, the whole party's over. Like you could hear the horn going, stopping. Uh-oh, Moshe's here. Party's over. So you can't really fault Am Yisrael, this nation of slaves that saw wonders and is still in deep shock over the events of the last 12 months after so many years of slavery. And in Egypt, which is a place of magic and witchcraft and sorcery, and it's hard to tell the difference between magic and miracle. And that's what Paro kept saying. Moshe, the Medrashim says, you're not real. You're not representing anything holy or from a different sort of God. You're one of us. You're one of the Klippa guys. Join the Klippa club. You're just a bunch of Khartoumim connected to evil. That's what Paro kept saying about Moshe. Don't believe him. He's not. And that's why he hardened his heart, because he basically thought that he just stumbled onto like the best magicians that they ever found. Doesn't mean anything. But so the pshat's like this: if Moshe Rabbeinu wasn't around, what do you want from Am Yisrael? They fell into a panic, and in that context, with Moshe absent, what hope did they have to really serve Hashem? Because how would they be intrinsically different? They fell to the 49th level of Tumah, just like those other nations. And really, when they were leaving Yam Suf, Hashem wanted to bring a Mabul on them. The angel said, put a Mabul on them. They're no different than the generation of the Mabul. But they had hope because they had the spiritual bio link to Avram Avinu, who had conquered the 10 tests, who did reverse the klipot, and proved it. Like it's kind of like 5 times 2. He didn't do it once, he did it twice. He knocked out all these klipos twice. He showed he had the mettle, M-E-T-T-L-E, to stand up to this evil and to conquer it and to reveal Kvod Shamayim by removing these veils. So if Moshe's around, we got a chance. But Moshe was around with the Meraglim. And not only that, they were shluchim of Moshe Rabbeinu. Who was in the Shabbos shir, by the way, that I gave? Only you. Oh, no, that's good. I don't want to be repetitive. But it's a little different, right? It was a little different. I'm going over a lot of the same ideas, but a little different presentation. But the idea is, I'm giving a shir Eish Kodesh every week for like 35 minutes before Mincha. I'm standing in for Rabbi Stern. Okay. Anyway, hold that off the tape. So, to understand it, I said we need a metaphor for understanding what it means to be a shaliach of Moshe. Even today, I said, like a Lubavitcher shliach goes to godforsaken places, literally, Philippines, St. Mauritius, Mumbai, and in Thailand, we have one of our neighbors, Dr. Burks, have children in Thailand, shluchim in Thailand. What are you going to eat? Thai noodles? What are you going to do there? What are they to do in Thailand? They're going and with chozek and they're matzliach and they put up buildings and they create. How? Where does the strength come from? Because they say, I'm a shaliach of the Lubavitcher Rebbe. I'm not me. Who is me? But I'm empowered by this and support. It's a network of us. So that was the Meraglim. It was supposed to be a network of shluchim, right? The 12 first, they weren't Moshe Chabad houses, they were Moshe houses. Set up Moshe house. He's the tzaddik of all time. If you can't step into that role and be inspired to see past Amalekim and Anakim and Rephaim and Nephilim, there's a problem. Only 2 people did. Yoshua obviously did because he was so merged with Moshe. Moshe added a Yud to his name. He implanted this koach, Yud, Yud, to withstand the 10 nisyonos. And not only that, Moshe davens, Yigdal na koach Hashem, and the letter Yud is a giant Yud. When he's davening for them to be forgiven, he says, okay, at least save the next generation. Yigdal na koach Hashem, as you mentioned earlier. Let the Jewish people who tested you Yud times be forgiven because of Avraham, who passed the 10 tests. That was Moshe's tefillah. He says they've got it within them. They just are not ready for it. Yeshua's ready for it. I put the Yud right in him, right in his heart. And Kalev was able to do it because he affiliated himself he connected himself to the Avos, right? And he laid himself on the Kivrei Avos. So he merged himself in with Avram Avinu, who was testing, literally, he joined Avram Avinu. That's why they were able to do it. And that's, I think, a very, very, very important lesson. This I'll say in air. I hate to be political. I'm not political. I don't want to be political. But here we are at the 50th anniversary of the Six-Day War, right? And it's got to be in your head, the significance of this couple weeks, right? Imagine what it was like 50 years ago. The shock. The Kvod Shemayim that came out in such an incredible way, without question. They said that one of the first things that happened, Matagur, Zechur Latov, he's the one that said, Harabayis Biyadenu, that we've conquered the Temple Mount, right? Matagur. He burst through the walls, the doors of the, of the Shuk. They had doors, Harabayis with I don't know what it was, a track, I don't know, the Jeep, like a little mini tank. And he rolls onto Harabayis Biyadenu. And what was one of the soldiers asked him, should I put a degel on top of the mosque? And he said, go for it. He said, go for it. Looking with binoculars, I guess he was afraid to go up himself, was Moshe Dayan. He says, get that off as fast as you can. What do you want to do? You want to blow up the world? Instead of, let it sit there. Let it sit there for a day, for an hour, for a week, for a year, forever.
Gave up the keys.
Not even a second. Because why? There's Amalekim, and there's Giborim, and there's Nephilim, and we're afraid. We're afraid. And that to me was a shtickle chet ha-meraglim. And it's ongoing. It hasn't stopped since then. It goes on and on and on and on. And I want to say, next week 2 yeshiva boys are coming here to try and influence the Israeli leadership to make a deal with the Amalekim. Doesn't make sense. Representatives of the President of the United States. 2 yeshiva boys.
Yeah.
2 yeshiva boys. It's a problem. You gotta really daven. It's not okay. But in any case, so here there was a blatant violation of the Meraglim of Kvod Shemayim. After all these miracles, after all we conquered Paro, we conquered all the armies, right? How many armies? We conquered all the armies in a miraculous fashion. And you still can't get past the fear of Amalek. You still can't deal with it. Yoshua was able to deal with Amalek, right? Yehoshua, because he was the one who had invested with him the Yud. Now, on a deeper level, the Yud, and I have to explain this to you, is very, very, very important, is the 10 spheros. 7 lower spheros, 3 upper spheros. If you recall, the Makos, which is in that list of 10, were divided into 2 sets by the Parsha. Parshas Va'era has 7 Makos. Parshas Bo has 3 Makos, right? Tzachadash Be'achab, you started having Arbe, Choshech, Makos, Bechoros. The last 3 are in Parshas Bo. Why? So Svarim Kedoshim explained. The 7 lower spheros are the human spheros that we can grasp, we can relate to. They were personified by Avram, Yitzchak, Yaacov, Yosef, Moshe, Aaron, and David. The Ushpizin, right? Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Hod, Yisod. The spheros, as it's explained in the Svarim Kedoshim, are Hashem's reality that He brought to this world. But how is He going to connect to us? He needs people to how should I say, personify those midos and spread them to the world. Hashem wants Chesed to be in the world. Hashem wants Gevura to be in the world. Hashem wants Tiferes to be in the world. Who's going to reveal the midos of Hashem? Who's going to hold the curtain? Who's going to pull the curtain? Avram did, Yitzchak did, Yaakov did, etc. That's our job, to reveal the midos. Interestingly, what do the Meraglim say? Everybody that we saw there were Anshe Midos. The wrong Midos. They saw Midos. They didn't see the Midos of Hashem. They saw the other Midos. So the 10 really are the 7, which is the 7 nations of Canaan, which are mentioned here. But there's 3 more. There are 3 more Canaanite nations whose land will come to us in the end. And that's Keni, Knizi, and Kadmoni. They represent Chachma Bina Das. That's the deeper understanding of Hashem that's usually beyond any level. That level will only begin to be understood in the era of Mashiach. We're not even holding by it. We can maybe understand up to the level of Chesed. We certainly have a difficult time. Anything, human beings can't do that, but we will be able to. And that's why Am Yisrael will get the land on the other side of the Jordan. The land on the other side of the Jordan is that land. We won't have it until Mashiach's time. Then it'll be ours. All of Jordan, all of Syria. See, they're clearing it out to make it available to us. Like the first thing when you're a landlord, right? You want to get the tenants out, you know. I met with my sister and brother-in-law from Crown Heights. God bless them. They came for a big simcha. They're related to the Schottenstein family. Not a bad family. They've done a lot for Chazakas HaTorah. And in the Waldorf Hotel, they're having a whole bar mitzvah. They brought singers, they brought basketball players, everything, the whole deal. And so my sister-in-law, brother-in-law came, the mishpacha. She's her aunt is a Schottenstein, married a Schottenstein. So they told me they live in a beautiful home in Crown Heights. Now, you know, Crown Heights was not the easiest neighborhood, at least the last few years, maybe 50 years ago, 60 years ago. And they said they bought a beautiful home and they renovated it, gorgeous, right, to be there near all the shluchim of the Rabbi, right? And next door was all the 7 nations of Canaan, with all the klipos. They had Nephilim over there, they had Amalekim over there. She said she spent most of her time in the police department filing reports, until one day the police came with guns, all right? And they showed me a video of this and did a bust, and they took them all out. They tackled them. Like, imagine, here's your house, and next door, over the fence, the police are tackling these guys, drug dealers, and worse. Every one of the klipos was mentioned. What did they do? They decided to secretly buy the house. They put together funding, and Baruch Hashem, he has a wonderful job and good bosses, and it was a good investment anyway, so they got together funding, and they sent somebody not to let them know that the Jews are buying the house. Somebody's buying the house.
An apartment building.
No, like a attached brownstone.
Yeah.
They bought it, they gutted it, they made 3 apartments, and they have 3 frum young families living there. That's what the story is for Eretz Yisrael. Do you understand? So HaKadosh Baruch Hu is doing a nice job, thank you. He's doing a wonderful job as the landlord, removing a lot of people from Syria. Not that I'm not mitigating their suffering, it's a terrible thing. But it's self-imposed suffering, pretty much. And clearing out the space so that the new tenants will come in, nice from families. I would suggest you buy apartments there. Invest in land. Raqqa is going to be like this great town, you know.
Yeah.
Young Israel of Raqqa.
You know, it's interesting, when they had the 6-day war, they could have gone to Damascus, and then they were stopped.
The border of Eretz Yisrael is Damascus. All of that is Eretz Yisrael. Every bit of it.
You say it's not till later, till Mashiach comes, that we're going to have to do that?
The only time we ever had it was in the time of the first quote-unquote Mashiach, that was, according to the Rambam, a sample of the Messianic era, was Shlomo Melech. Shlomo Melech did have it. Totally had it. Anyway, so to summarize, the 10 Sfiros are what we can know about Hashem. The vehicle of that is Am Yisrael and the Avos, the Ushpiz, and that's our job, to bring Kvod Shamayim to the world. The Meraglim saw these giants there, and they said, we are not up to the task. Look at the fruit that they eat. The Ramban says, anybody would eat that stuff who's normal would drop dead, because it's food that's so heavy. You know? It's like food that only a giant could digest even. He says, not for us. We haven't grown to that level. The fruit of Am Yisrael was still small and developing inside its shells. So that's why Hashem said, Moshe Rabbeinu, okay, here's the plan. We'll wait till the fruit matures. We'll wait 40 years. And then we'll grow. It'll continue to grow and develop. And then Yehoshua, with whom you invested, the Yud, he's going to take the ripe fruits into Eretz Yisrael. Because at that point, they will no longer be afraid. Because they'll have enough trust in Moshe Rabbeinu, having grown up a whole generation under the tutelage of Moshe Rabbeinu and Aaron HaKohen. They're going to be ready to take on the Amalekim and the Rephaim and the Nephilim, but right now it's just premature. It could have happened, but it didn't happen. And that's analogous to the difference in the 5th millennium and the 6th millennium. In the 5th millennium, Klal Yisrael was not really able to actualize the potential for Mashiach. It was there. It was there like it was there for the Meraglim. It was there. It didn't quite work. We weren't quite ready. But in the 6th millennium, we've already gone through what we've gone through. We've matured what we've matured. And now we really, Baruch Hashem, we're here. We're mamish here. But our goal is to look within ourselves, when the Am Yisrael, and try to burst out of the fruit needs to burst out of these shells. And that's our job. To mechazik Torah and to encourage other people to mechazik Torah. To conquer, bad, to fight the depraved activities that are being promoted as part of this society here in Israel, and to say it's not our way, and to not go against the will of Hashem, and encourage people to comply themselves to the Hashem's will. That's the Giborim. And of course the Amalekim, those Jews who hate Judaism and want to focus their lives into the world of the non-Jews, they have to be brought back to some sort of Jewish roots. That's our goal. And this time we can be successful, Be'ezrat Hashem. Because Hashem said it's time. Okay, any questions?
Yeah, how do we stand by, you say we're ready and we're the people who can do it, but think of these were the Bechirim, these were the best, the Rosh Shvatim, and they couldn't do it?
They weren't the best. Some people say they were only Sarei Chamishim. Now, Chai Chamishim is not a big job, because you could have been a Sarah Elef. You have 1,000 people working for you. You own a factory, you have 1,000 people working for you. You're a big deal, right? You got 50 people working for you. Okay, Seder, but listen, you got 10 people working for you. You're a Sarah. Okay, it's a nice little business. Pretty good. So they weren't the biggest. More importantly, they could have. If they attached themselves to Moshe Rabbeinu, they could have done it. But on their own, they could not have done it. And the message here is very clear. The affiliation to Moshe and literally to the Avos is what was successful and what will be successful. But Jews on their own can't. And you notice, the next day they try to go and conquer Eretz Yisrael. What does Moshe Rabbeinu tell them? Hashem is not with you.
No.
You're not going to do it.
They lost.
And they were, oh, we're going to do it. You're not going to do it. Even if you have the best intentions, you're not going to do it. Because you have to, they should have done was go back to Moshe. Well, maybe they did try. He says, okay, let's have a day of Tainus. That was the inyan of the Bechia Ladoros. They cried instead of strengthening themselves through attachment to the tzaddikim. Those were the choices. But B'cho Tifke Balayla, they cried. They cried because they looked at themselves and said, we can't do it. Of course you can't do it. How in the world are you expected to do it? It's through your association with something much larger than you. You become a shaliach of Moshe. Shlach lecha anashim. It's brilliant. Let them be the shlichim of Moshe. In that context you can be. But if you're going to go against Moshe, what? Moshe said, we're not going. And you're going anyway? You're not the shliach of Moshe? Forget it. Okay. That's an insight that will also help us. Important to see beneath the surface of the Parsha. You see all these messages. The 10 Doros and the Negara, you see it all. So I'm saying part of our job in this generation is also to look deeper into the Parsha and understand the context of the Zohar's map. We're going places. Things are happening. We need to be cognizant of them. And therefore we can participate in them. Okay? To be Marbek Vod Shamayim. That's our job. Okay.